Hey Doodlers, this is Adam Sasinski and welcome to day 37 of the 40-day How to Doodle course. Within today's lesson, we'll take a look at using frames, containers, and thought bubbles. Now, I guess a frame is anything that sort of encapsulates something else. So for instance, you would have, say, words, you would have pictures in here, whatever that may be. And this frame kind of captures these ideas, and your frame can be, you can think of, different frames such as picture frames, and you can spice them up any way you want. For instance, you can add more lines and that just to make things stand out a little bit more. So you can look at them as picture frames as such. Now with frames, you can obviously do lines as frames, and then you can do another border around those lines, and then you can spice them up with other lines on the inside, whatever it is. I guess the main purpose and idea behind them is to give you separation between different pieces of content. So you wanted to highlight a certain area, then you would use a frame in order to highlight this area, and essentially that frame could become, for instance, a container. So a container is more of a sort of three-dimensional object that you could pop in here. So you could have words and you can have different sort of pictures in here within your actual frame, which can look pretty cool. So then you can have more words and sort of pictures and shapes, whatever it is, here and a smiley face there. So that by itself is kind of a mixing up a few doodles, words, and pictures and putting them into place. That gives your doodles a lot of variety, and it gives your doodles interesting dynamics. For instance, you could hang ideas like on a string. So if you got a few ideas, you could use some frames, hang them on the string, okay, like this, and there you go. So you can have your words within these areas here, like on these little sheets of paper, and they're hanging on a string. So that already captures in essence what you're trying to do. You could of course use frames to express different things. For instance, if something is like an explosion, okay, so a frame could kind of, you can use these little angles sort of indicate that something just went bang here. There you go. So you can use frames for a variety of different things, and of course frames can also be like different containers, such as like that. So you could pop words and ideas into these frames like that, and this frame in itself kind of separates those ideas from the rest of the content that is presented up here. And I think the best way to use these frames and containers is to just think about the theme and what the words are you are trying to express within this actual container, and then create a container that's built around that, and that will help spice up your visual notes. Now we also have speech bubbles. So speech bubbles, I'm kind of all over the place here. Oh no. Okay, there we go. Speech bubbles. Now speech bubbles, you got characters, for instance, one character here, another character here. They're talking to each other, so you could have a speech bubble like that, and you could have words indicating their thoughts and feelings, and there are plenty of ways to represent speech bubbles. So you could go, we've gone through that before, like that's more of a thought. These here are more like they're talking to each other, or a person is saying something. So you could also vary up your speech bubbles, give them a bit of variety to express the ideas that are being presented within the speech bubble. So that's a little bit more kind of spiky, rough. So it might mean a few different things. Just depends what you're trying to go for. And that's pretty much it. Have a look at the examples that I presented below. There are quite a few ways to doodle these sorts of things. I'll just sort of straighten this up. I've kind of gone skewed right off the page. It doesn't matter. I'll just leave it as it is. Kind of skewed off the page a little bit. It's kind of crooked now. Well, have a look at the speech bubbles that others have created, the containers that they've created. There's a lot of different possibilities here for you to try to practice. The more practice you get, the better you'll get, and the more fun. I mean, you can have a lot of fun with this activity and use them. I mean, incorporate them into your visual notes, and I'm sure that you'll find a lot of great purpose for them within your visual notes to separate things and to keep things sort of contained in one area of your visual notes, some thoughts, ideas, and separate them from other ideas that are contained in a different section of your visual notes. And straight away, I guess, sort of like when you're using, I guess, icons, and that icons help you to kind of identify key areas of your visual notes. These containers can be sort of used like icons, but then you're putting the content, your thoughts and ideas into those icons, which turns them into containers. So think of them as big icons that you can use for the purpose of separating ideas much more effectively for your visual notes. So that's it for today's lesson. I look forward to seeing you on the next lesson, having you be with me on the next lesson, and I'd love to see your doodles of these containers, thought bubbles, and other things, and please submit them to info@iqdoodle.com, and I will see you soon. Take care.